Now, for just a few minutes with the private group, thinking about what they would be most interested in at the moment, I think part of it is the idea that almost anybody can access homeschooling in some form. You don't have to be super rich or be an incredibly well-trained teacher or anything like that. You have to get in touch with the right groups. And I'm assuming those have to be geographically close to where you live, right? It's not all online at this point.
There's still a lot that are meeting in person. I don't know what the situation is in like California and stuff. I know the government's like cracking down hardcore, but yeah, and there's a lot of good ideas we can give to people about that, and there's a lot of data on this too. So I'll point people over to the National Home Education Research Institute, where they've done a lot of the information there. I mean, what they found is that it doesn't matter if the parents don't even have a high school diploma; they're going to do a much better job than the government school, and their children will end up much smarter and more well-adjusted. So.
Exactly. So you just start looking up well, I guess you would go to the one that you mentioned on the show, publicschoolexit.com for the beginning.
Yeah, lots of links there to pretty much anything you could want in this field. So
okay, and then when your kids are interacting with you at home, are there things that you can do to be encouraging them to continue their education and their learning and have the right attitude toward self-development for their whole life and things like that? I mean, what kind of behaviors on the part of parents encourage the kids to keep learning?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I think part of it is that children love to learn. I mean, your average child has a love of learning built into them, and we think of, because I went to school too. I hated school. I got kicked out of school.
Me too.
I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. And so what I tell people is your child automatically is born with a desire to learn, and unless a school system bludgeons that out of them, you're not going to have to force them. Kids want to learn. I mean, my kids love to pick up books and learn stuff. They love to study particular issues. So it's not even an issue. Kids will want to learn automatically. And sometimes you need to give them some guidance. I mean, I wouldn't let them do whatever they want all day long, but right. Kids have an innate desire to learn. So
how do you balance that with having them not lost in virtual reality with screen time?
Screen time, I think, is a touchy one. I personally don't really like the screen time for the children.
Bill Gates doesn't allow his little kids to have any.
No, he's a smart man, right? He knows what the deal is. And Steve Jobs was the same way. These people don't, the titans of Silicon Valley, they wouldn't let their kids play with those things if you offered them
even cell phones.
Right, they just don't. And so, sometimes my kids, oh, Dad, why can't I have an iPad? Why can't I have an iPhone? Whatever. Because I love you. That's why. Okay. Right. I don't want you to get sucked into that.
All the other kids get radiated. Why can't I?
Exactly. We get that all the time. Oh, my friend gets to play 45 minutes of games. I don't care. Okay. So we occasionally, I actually bought the kids an old Super Nintendo, just so they wouldn't feel totally left out.
Yeah.
They could play like Super Mario or whatever. Right. But we don't do a lot of games, and you know what? I think the kids are much better off because of it. So if your kids are doing like online school or an online course or something, maybe make an exception. But I would tell parents, your kids don't need screen time. Kids grew up for thousands of years without screen time, and they did just fine. They're going to be fine. So.
And they still make, what do they call those things? Books, with pages.
Oh yeah, those.
Right, that you
remember
can
those.
Get. Yeah.
And I tell people, the library is your friend, right? Sometimes they'll be having like LGBT day where the guy with the demon horns comes in and reads the stories and
you probably
tells your
want
kid
to do a different day.
Yeah, exactly. Pick a different day and, guide your children wisely. Don't take them to the axe murderer section. See if you can get them interested in something useful.
Safety tip, right.
Right. And I mean, we keep an encyclopedia here. When my kids need to learn something for a project, it's not, hey, I'm going to go Google and see what Master Google has to say. So you pick up the encyclopedia and you read it.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah. And try to keep those old skills alive, like reading books and stuff.
Absolutely.
Like that.
And I mean, Google's manipulating you anyway and stealing all your data. Why do you want to participate in that? Just use the encyclopedia. It's a lot better than Wikipedia anyway.
When you hear people use Google as a verb synonym for search engine, it's nice to remind them that there's others that are better to use, right?
Amen.
Okay. Well, it's encouraging. Thanks for the time, Alex. I really appreciate it. It's nice to see you again. And
thank you, Richard.
I think things are going to be developing in one direction or another really fast. They're accelerating.
The times, they are changing very, very quickly. So thank you for having me on, Richard. It's always a pleasure, and hopefully we'll get to chat again soon. So.
Yeah, see you in a while.